This is the memory of Jared Orchen. Usually we learn now of Torah, as a Torah series. Or there is one parsha, a few parshas here and there that we never had a class about them. Then we will study the parsha of this week. This week we're going to read in the synagogue two parshas, Matot and Masei. And we're completing the fourth book from the from the 5 books of Moses, the book of Numbers. Then today we will learn, for Matot we have already a class. Anybody wants to know it, we'll go online. But Masei, Parshat Masei, the last parsha from the book of Numbers, we never were learning about it. So we're going to learn about a specific verse in the book of Masei, in the parsha of Masei, and from there we'll go maybe to other places too. Then we'll start with this line, but then we'll go to other places. We'll take you to a journey in the Bible to other places. On page 1099, we'll read one verse, and we'll go from there. 1099, number 38. You want to read?
They journeyed from Uos and camped by Eliah Halav, Arim, and the Moabite boundary. They journeyed from Ayim and camped in... Oh, you said 38.
It is 38, right? It looks like it. Aaron the priest?
Yeah, from here.
Oh, 34.
34, start 34. The 34 is a mistake. It's a different number. Look, the small one is 37, you see?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
See 37 there?
The little numbers, like before.
Okay. They journey?
journeyed from Kadesh and camped at Har Hoar,
Har, at the edge.
at the edge of land of Edom.
Har means a mountain in top of a mountain. A small mountain in top of a big mountain. That's what Har means. Okay.
Aaron the priest went up to Har,
Yeah.
and died there by a kiss from God's mouth. And on the first day of the 5th month in the 40th year of the children of Israel's exodus from Egypt, Aaron was 123 years old when he died at Harar.
Okay, that's it. We're reading here about the death of Aaron. When is the first of the 5th month? When is it? The Torah gives us a date when he died. Died Aaron, it gives us an age. He was 123 years old. And he was at the first of the 5th month. When is the first of the 5th month? A whole room of scholars. First of the 5th month.
What?
You start with September
first
or
of
you
the-
start with April?
So it's got to be Tammuz, right?
April is
April.
going to be May,
You mean,
June,
yeah.
July, August.
But
September.
obviously it's not April, it's Pesach. It's Nisan.
Pesach,
Right?
yeah,
Nisan.
yeah,
Nisan is the first month.
yeah,
Iyar is the second month.
yeah.
Sivan is the month of Shavuos is the 3rd month, right? Tammuz, that we are now, is the 4th month. Av is the 5th month. The 1st of Av. When is going to be the 1st of Av?
In a couple days.
Next week. Which day? I think it's Rosh Chodesh is Monday, I think.
Rosh Chodesh is my birthday, the 24th of July. July 24th is Monday.
What day of the week is it? Monday.
3rd, 4th?
Monday.
Oh, no. What you talking about, the Rosh Chodesh? Which day
Rosh
we talking
Chodesh Av is going to be Monday. This Monday is going to be the Yortzeit from Aaron the priest. Now, before I give you I'll give you the bomb in the beginning. The only one in the Bible that his date of passing is written, the only one is Aaron.
Moshe.
Really? Where?
He died and he lived on, he was born on the same day.
6 of
Where
Sivan.
is this written? It's not written when he was born and not when he's died. I have some story. Not in the Bible. In the commentaries, in the Talmud, yeah. In the Bible, the only person that's written the day of his death is Aaron. And it's in this Parshat, Parshat Masei. And we read it every year, right before his Yortzeit. It's all organized in different ways, but the bottom line, Hashem led it that the Jewish people should read about Aaron's death, about his Yortzeit, right? This Shabbos will be 2 days before his Yortzeit, the Shabbos before his Yortzeit. You know, in general, when you have a Yortzeit during the week, you get an Aliyah the Shabbos before, you make the Kiddush, it's always the Shabbos before. That couldn't be more appropriate than reading Parshat Masei about the Yortzeit of Aaron the Shabbos before his Yortzeit. Then,
Why is it the only one in which we are to?
why is it the only one? Why only Aaron's Yortzeit was mentioned in the Bible? That's my question. You give the answer.
He was first priest.
And Moses was the first leader. Kite. Big deal.
To show us the
Okay, let's see about Aaron in general. Okay. Is this the only place that Aaron's death is mentioned?
No, Chukah.
Parshas Chukas, beautiful. Here is another scholar, beautiful, very good. We're in Parshas Chukas, we'll go to Parshas Chukas.
20.
Oh, you even know where it is, you're competing with them, boy. I don't mind, I'll forgive you, but you know.
It's gotta be that ice cream.
Yeah, chapter 20 is right.
Eat it.
It's page 999. Aaron's passing and Lazarus' appointment. Because you told us where it is, you better read it.
999. I gotta find it.
Take your time. 999.
Okay.
Read it from the top.
They traveled from Kadesh, and the entire next generation of the congregation of the children of Israel arrived at the double mountain. God spoke to Moshe.
Here it's interesting. They translated double. They said Orahar in English.
Right.
No.
No, well, the one we just read before.
Double
But
mountain.
here in Hebrew it's the same Orahar. It's here they translated double mountain. The commentator, when he came to Deuteronomy, the translator, he forgot what he said here in Chukas. Here he calls it the double mountain. There he writes Orahar. It doesn't say it's a double mountain. Maybe he relies on the commentary here that you should know. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
God spoke to Moshe and Aaron at the double mountain, at the border of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron will now be gathered to his people. He will not come to the land which I have given to the children of Israel, because you defied my word at the waters of strife. Persuade Aaron, along with Eleazar, his son, to go up the mountain. Divest Aaron of his priestly garments, and dress Eleazar, his son, with them. Then Aaron will be gathered in to his people and die there. Moshe did what God commanded him. They went up the double mountain in the presence of the entire congregation. Moshe divested Aaron of his priestly garments and dressed Eleazar his son in them. And Aaron died there on top of the mountain.
Go ahead, continue.
Then Moshe and Eleazar descended from the mountain. The whole congregation saw that Aaron had died, and the entire house of Israel wept for Aaron for 30 days.
That's it. That's the story. Don't go anywhere. Then here is the original story that Aaron died. Moses, can you imagine? 3 people go up the mountain. They don't tell anybody where they're going. They're going. The whole nation is watching how Moses, Aaron, and Lazar go up on a mountain on top of a mountain. Moses didn't go on a mountain. He didn't die. He was also died on a mountain, but not on a mountain on top of a mountain. And they go there, and they come back too. 2 people come down. 3 go up, 2 come back. Where is Aaron? Died. It was a huge shock for the Jewish people. Then first of all, Aaron was the only one saw his son taking over his job. Aaron was, every piece of clothing that was taken off from Aaron was put on his son. That Aaron saw how his son takes over. And Moses was actually, he said to God, I wish I would have the same thing, that my children will take over after me. Now, that was Aaron. And then when they came down, because the Jewish people, it's written, and the whole nation, the whole congregation saw that Aaron died, that Aaron gava means he expired, I would say. They mourned Aaron for 30 days. This is the original story. Then in our Parsha, they had another part. They tell us the date. This is the only places that Aaron's death mentioned.
Says that he will die earlier, but not that he
No,
has
no,
died.
That he died.
You're saying
No, that he died.
that Moses wanted a death like Aaron.
There is one more place that Aaron's death is mentioned. Masei, if I remember correct. In Parshat Akev, I remember it's written that he died again. I'm just looking. Oh, on page 1183. Number 6.
Later on, you did another sin, which in my eyes was as bad as the golden calf. It was when 40 years later, Aaron died in Hor-Hahar, and he was buried there. And Eleazar, his son, was appointed as priest in his place.
It's written a third time in the Torah that Aaron died. What is this big obsession with Aaron's death? 3 times? Wasn't once enough? Why the Torah writes it 3 times? You see something about Aaron in the Bible, he gets a treatment better than anybody in the world. What's unique about Aaron? First of all, the only one is written that is day of the Yortzeit. His Yortzeit is written in the Torah, the only one. And we think about is the way they were mourned, his death was mourned. The whole nation cried for him, right? What about Moses? When he died, who mourned for him?
Some of them. Some.
Let's see what's written. The end of the Torah, we read about the death of Moses. Moses died, right? When the Torah was ending. That's where Moses died. It's on page 1365. 1365 in top of the page. Top of the page. You want to read, Barry?
Moshe, the servant of God, died there in the land of Moab by a kiss from the mouth of God. God buried him in the valley in the land of Moab, opposite Bais Peor. No person knows the place of his burial to this day. Moshe was 120 years old when he died. His eye never dimmed, nor did moisture leave his body even after he died. The men of Israel wept for Moshe in the plains of Moab for 30 days, and then the days of weeping over the mourning of Moshe came to an end.
Okay, here it's written the men of Israel died, not the whole congregation. Only the men died. Only the men mourned this death, not everybody else. Was another leader of the Jewish people in the desert. Who was it? Miriam, right? How we know she was the third leader? The prophet who told this to us, I'll tell you soon in a minute. the prophet, we have it in the Torah from Parshat Balak, I think. Yeah, open page 1459. I'm sorry that I drive you crazy to turn the pages back and forth and forth. Okay. It's good for the exercise of the fingers, beside the cell phones. Number 1459, number 4. Chapter 6, number 4. Or you can start from number 3.
My people, remember all the good that have I done for you, and how have I wearied you to accept my yoke. Testify against me, for I brought you up out of the land of Egypt. I redeemed you from the house of your slavery, and I sent you great leaders, Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam.
Moshe, Aaron, I took you out from the land of Egypt, and I sent you three great leaders. That the prophet Micha, said it clear, straight, black and white. I sent you 3 leaders, Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. Feminism, everything is good. 3 leaders, 2 men, 1 woman. Even if it's 2 men and 1, but it's already a big achievement. Then we had 3 leaders. That when Miriam died, did the Jewish people mourn her? Nothing. In Parshat Chukas, right? In Parshat Chukas, we read about Miriam's death, and we don't read anything about her. It's written, and Miriam died. Done.
Well, they complained about the water, that's all.
Why they complain about the water?
It was her well.
What means her well? How we know that was her well?
Went away when she died.
Because it disappeared when she died. From this we know that was because of her. Beautiful.
But it's a very odd thing
Because
when she gets the leprosy, they actually stop and they don't move for 7 days. So there was a love for her. It's very strange that we see such a discrepancy between the 3 leaders because she was beloved.
she obviously was beloved. And you think Moses was not beloved?
No.
I have a proof for you from the Parshas Matters. We're reading these 2 Parshas. God tells Moses, take the revenge of the Midianite, and then you will be gathered to your fathers. Gathered to your fathers. In nice English, it's like you're being gathered, Bocha. Not a good thing. Moses did not hesitate to do right away, even if he knew that after this he will die. He didn't create a committee, made a meeting. He went to do it. But the Jewish people did not want to go to war. It's written that Moses had to hand them over to go to war. The moment they heard that Moses is going to die, they didn't want to go to war. Rashi says that, I think, in Parshas Matos. 1 second. Sorry, let's find that. But it doesn't. They don't bring the commentary that Rashi says. It says only it was in the Torah. But Rashi says it's not here in English. Rashi says, look, the Jewish people. 4 years before, what the Jewish people, they were ready to do to Moses what? Stone him. Here, the moment they hear that he's going to die, they don't want to go to war. They love them. There is more to it. First of all, the whole thing with stone him, God told Moses later, you say about my children, they will stone you, go in front of them. I want to see you stoning you. Nobody stoned him. He said, why are you speaking bad about my kids? I'm not stoning you. But they forget about not stoning him. They complained 4 years, right? But they didn't really mean it. The moment they hear that he's dying, they really love them. There's a famous story about a rabbi. He had a woman outside his door, a little hof. He used to curse him out with the worst curses. One day his wife tells him, what are you letting curse her? He says she doesn't mean it. What do you mean she doesn't mean it? He calls her in. He says, would you want me to wish you that you should have a child like me? I'll give you a blessing. She says, oh, Rabbi, I wish. He turns to his wife, you see, she doesn't mean it. The point is, the Jewish people, the moment they heard that Moses will die, they didn't want to go to war. Not only this, it's written, we'll go back to the same page you just read about Moses died, almost the same way. No, a little earlier. There is another thing about his death. בעצם היום הזה. It's written, On page 1353. Moshe is told to ascend Mount Nebo, to go to die, basically. On page 1353, go ahead.
Okay. God spoke to Moshe in that very day, saying, "Climb up the Avarite mountains here at Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is facing Jericho, and see the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the children of Israel as a possession. Then die on the mountain upon which you are climbing, and be gathered to your people, just as your brother Aaron."
Very nice, right? Now, on the same page, we'll read the classic question. Are not the word on that very day superfluous?
Superfluous.
Go ahead. Right there, the first classic question. Yeah, please read it.
Concerning Noah,
Scripture.
Oh, turn to
Scripture uses the phrase "on that very day" in three places that have the same implication.
The word בעצם היום is written 3 times, written many more, but in 3 times have the same meaning. Go ahead.
Concerning Noah, it is written, "On that very day Noah came into the ark, indicating that daylight was shining when he came in. For the people of his generation were saying, 'We swear that we will not allow him to enter the ark if we notice him. Furthermore, we will take axes to hold back Noah and sledgehammers to smash the ark.' But God said, 'I will have him enter in broad daylight. If anybody's hand is able to resist, let him come and resist.'"
That the first place written בעצם היום הזה in this very day was in the story of the flood. They all said, "We'll let Noah to go into the ark and hide himself. We will kill him." God says, "Go in the middle of the day." What God did, the Medrash says that God brought all the animals around the ark and nobody could touch Noah. The second time, number 2,
Concerning Egypt, it is written, "It happened on that very day that God took the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. For the Egyptians were saying, 'We swear that we will not allow them to leave if we notice them. Furthermore, we will take swords and weapons of self-defense and kill them if need be.' But God said, 'I will bring them out in broad daylight. If anyone is able to resist, let him come and resist.'"
counter to popular belief that the Jewish people left Egypt in the middle of the night. It's not true. They left Egypt in broad daylight. The night before was the killing of the firstborn, the smiting of the firstborn, but it was a whole night. They were staying home until early morning. They were not allowed to leave the house until dawn. That's what God told them before. In middle of the day, noontime, when the sun is shining, בעצם היום הזה they left Egypt. God said, "I want to see who is going to stop you." And the third place is in this week's is in this what he's talking about Moses' death. Go ahead.
Likewise here, concerning Moshe's death, it is written, "On that very day." For the Jewish people were saying, "We swear that if we notice Moshe is going to die, we will not let him. He is the man who brought us out of Egypt. He split the Reed Sea for us. He brought the manna down for us. He made flocks of quails fly over to us. He brought up the well for us, and he gave us the Torah. We will not let him die." But God said, "I will take him in broad daylight."
Then the Jewish people didn't want to let him die. They loved him. Obviously, they were ready to fight with God. Even God said so. They said, "We have a job." The Rabbi who once spoke about it, he says they have an obligation. Gratefulness and gratitude is a mitzvah. It's in the Torah. They had such gratitude to Moses. They had an obligation to not allow him to die. What God needs to do, that's God's problems. We have to do everything in our power not to allow him to die. And because God said to him, "You'll go up at the mountain, you'll die there," obviously, it will stop him from going up on the mountain, he will not die. They try to stop him. God says, "I want to see you stop him." But it shows you the gratitude that they had to Moses. Like you said before, they love Moses. If they loved Moses, first of all, they didn't mourn for him like they mourned for Aaron, right? Why did they mourn for him as much as they mourned for Aaron? Why people mourned Aaron more than they mourned Moses?
I think they had more, Aaron had more contact with the people.
Well, he plays more of a role with both
Priests.
men and women, with marriage, and with,
And the Talmud tells us, that goes back to the same question, why Aaron's yortzeit is mentioned, the only yortzeit is mentioned, because the story is very strange. We said Aaron gave, because of Miriam, they got water. Right? Because of Aaron, they got what?
Peace.
Clouds of glory. Clouds to protect them. And not clouds of glory was more an entourage that gives dignity to the Jewish people. Because of Moses, they got what? Manna. What's more important? An entourage or something to eat? Or water, drink. I better eat something, yeah. It's an entourage, it's a nice suit and a nice three Hasidim will run after you are nice and fine. But if nothing to eat, it's a problem. That Moses gave them manna. Not only this. When Aaron died, why they get the clouds of glory back? Because of whom? Because of Moses. When Miriam died, who gave them the water back? Moses. Again Moses. Moses gave them everything. What Aaron gave them? Clouds of glory. It's not, don't take it to the bank, you know. Moses gives them water, what's her name? Miriam gives them manna, water. They don't mourn for them, for manna, for Miriam not at all. For Moses, only the men, and not all the men, only the scholars who were able to appreciate. And everybody loves them. And why the Torah writes his date of death? Because it was important for the Jewish people to know Aaron's Yortzeit. Obviously, they wanted to invent. Everybody came to Moshe. Moshe, when is the Yortzeit? When is Aaron Yortzeit next year? Which date is it? Moshe said, write in the Torah, in the Torah. Everybody will know. Then the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot says, because Aaron was Heveh mitalmidav shel Aaron, be from the disciples of Aaron. Love peace and pursue peace. Love people and bring them closer to the Torah. If you want the mission statement of Chabad, this is it. What Aaron did? Aaron was loving people. And the Medrash goes in great details. How Aaron used to see two friends were in a fight. He used to come to one and he told them, you know, your friend is really regretting, he really loves you. Comes to the other friend, tells them the same lie. These two meeting each other, dogging each other, kissing each other, become best friends. The same thing in between husband and wife. Aaron's business was to go from tent to tent and ask people, do you need me to, I should teach you how to read? Maybe you need help. Is there a problem in your family? You have a fight with your child? You have a fight with your husband? Every couple who had a fight, Aaron wanted peace. More than that, Aaron said hello to every person. And people were afraid to be bad because next week they'll meet Aaron. And what are you going to tell them? How are you? Aaron was saying, oh, I didn't see you a whole week in shul. Where were you? What are you going to tell them? that they, to begin with, when they knew, you know, when the Rebbe was alive, people were afraid to do the wrong thing because one day they're going to see the Rebbe. Have to face him. And he might ask him, where, what, when? And even not ask him, just. The point is that the Jewish people were in love with him. It's written when Aaron died, there were already 60,000 Jewish children in the camp, and the name was Aaron. Because every couple had a fight, separated, and then get together again, they had another child. What they named them? Aaron. And by every Aaron, you knew how many fights were in the Jewish people. You know, there's Baruch Hashem a lot of fights. There was a lot of Aaron. That Aaron was the most beloved leader. Now I mentioned that when I was speaking about a few Shabbosim ago, I saw by the Rebbe, they interview people who met the Rebbe from many years ago. Then in most of the interviews, you see, the audience of the Rebbe 60 years ago, 50 years ago. That's how old it goes back. Most of the people don't remember what the Rebbe exactly told them. They had a 20 minutes audience, 10 minutes in. But you know what they remember? The compliment. And then the Rebbe told me that I am a nice boy or something, whatever it was. But more than that, they remember how the Rebbe made them feel. I felt in the room, I was so uplifted. I left, I was so optimistic and so upbeat and so enthusiastic and so on and on. Moses gave them bread. Miriam gave them water. But Moses gave them the biggest gift. Aaron. He gave them good it made them feel good about themselves. The Talmud tells us about the mitzvah of tzedakah, charity. You see a poor man, one mitzvah is to give him money, the other mitzvah is to say nice things. I don't want to tell you that because people start to tell them nice things instead of giving money. But it's written that saying them words of encouragement is a bigger mitzvah than giving him the money. Anybody who gives the money is blessed with 6 blessings by God. If you tell them words of encouragement, good words, it's 11 blessings. You know why? Because the money tomorrow needs no money. If you tell him that he's good and it's going to be good and he's great and he can do it, these words will push him and carry him on for years. That's why words of encouragement, compliments, nice words, is more valuable than your money. All the studies show that people are working in the working place that they choose is not where they're getting the biggest salary, it's where they're being appreciated. All the studies show it, again and again. Because even if you get a lot of money, if you wake up in the morning and you're thinking about going to work and you're being insulted and screamed off, you don't want to go. You don't need it. If you you don't look forward to go to work, you don't go to work. You rather get a little less and go to a place you're being appreciated. That was Aaron giving to the Jewish people. But how we know that Aaron was? Now, number 2, Aaron was Ohevet HaBriot. He loved, you know the word Briot in Hebrew means? The first part of the Mishnah is Ohev Shalom Verodef Shalom. Loves peace and pursues peace. Pursue peace means you go to make sure to make peace with people. Even if you are right and he's wrong, you apologize. That's what it means to pursue peace. I'm right. If you're wrong, for sure you have to apologize. What's the question? There's no discussion about that. Even if you are right and he's wrong, go and apologize and make it work. Oh, that nobody likes that. Yeah. That's what it's all about. But more than that, the second part of the Mishnah is Ohevet HaBriot, he loves the Briot. Briot means creatures. Creatures means he's a creature of God. Means the only good compliment I can say about him that he was created by God. There is a Talmudic story. Think about Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Greenberg. I think that he was once met a person who was very ugly. But he asked him, "Why are you so ugly?" Obviously, the Rebbe once spoke about the story. He said if he was ugly, it was not just a physical thing. He was probably ugly spiritually. You know what that guy told him?
The ugly guy.
The ugly guy. What did he answer?
He said, say it to my creator.
God created me.
Go to the one who created me, to my maker. Go to God. Then he ran after him to apologize, and it was a whole story now. Briot is a guy that the only good thing you can say about him is created by God. He might be the worst human being, but God created them. Obviously, he has a reason. Aaron loved the Briot, not just the nice people. You know, people say, "Oh, I have guests in my house for Shabbos." Yeah, who you have for guests? Your best friends. What a mitzvah! I knew a guy. He told me his father told him, and his father did it. In 770 was a big thing in Chabad synagogue in Tonight's. It's huge, thousands of people. Told him, you stay Friday night, the latest, and everybody's gone. And you look for the people that nobody invited them to their home, and you invite them. Yeah. That's the people you want to invite. I mean, the people that everybody loves to be, you know, when you have sometimes a Friday night dinner, you're making sitting arrangements, right? The people tell you, I want to sit with this guy, and other people tell you, I want to sit with this guy. Then there is some people who tell you, I want to sit with people that nobody wants to sit with them. I'll sit with them. That's Ohevet HaBriot, loving the creatures, people that nobody wants to be around. Umekarvan la Torah, and brings them closer to the Torah. Here is a big lesson. Why I said before it's a Chabad statement, I'll tell you why. The Rebbe used to say it many times. There is 2 ways to bring people close to the Torah. One way is to bring the Torah close to them. The other way is to bring them close to the Torah. What's the difference? If you bring the Torah to the people,
The work.
or you bring the people to the Torah,
You don't have to work for it.
what's the difference? Can anybody explain it? The Mishnah says, bring them closer to the Torah. And the Rebbe used to say, the way it's written, there is a message there. Bring them closer to the Torah, not the Torah closer to the people.
They're coming of their own free will.
Obviously. What would be the way to bring the Torah to the people?
You might be reducing it down, you might be watering.
Bringing the Torah to the people means to water down the Torah to the people. Oh, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do this. Oh, just do this. We're not obligated anymore to do A, B, C, and D. Bringing the people closer to the Torah means elevating them. Not bringing down the Torah, elevating the people. How much? It's up to everyone to his level. But you bring him closer to the Torah. That's Aaron. That's in the Mishnah. But where in the Bible we see that Aaron was actually a man of peace? Where in the Bible we see it? Where is it written?
Doesn't he carry the staff to stop the plague? Moshe has him.
Stop the plague. Which, the staff?
The staff, the serpent staff or something.
Aaron's staff.
Didn't he
The
run-
serpent, I think, was Moses created a serpent.
Yes,
The
but
almonds.
wasn't it
Yeah,
Aaron
almond
that carried
balls.
it around?
The what?
The almonds. Wasn't it?
The almonds was about peace.
Wasn't it?
That's who was.
Wasn't it his staff?
But the plague stuff.
It's tough to prove that he has almonds, that he's the high priest. Where is showing that he made peace, that he was a man of peace?
Golden calf.
The golden calf, my friend.
That's right. Sounds counterintuitive. but-
You're right, sounds crazy.
but he placated the people. He gave them what they wanted.
We gave them what they want. That unwanted, that's terrible. Oy vey. He made them book him. He allowed to worship a golden calf.
Well, he told them to bring their gold,
He told them to bring, yeah.
He was turned stone.
not
Yeah.
thinking they would do it.
I know, and he threw it into the fire, right? You're right. Obviously, Aaron didn't want to do it, but when there was the choice between fighting with the people and worshiping idols, he chose the people.
Well, they killed, he
They
had
killed
no
who?
choice.
What means he had no choice? He had the choice to be killed.
Okay, fair enough.
No, more than that, he didn't have to be killed. He just didn't have to say, do whatever you want. I'm not going to be a part of it.
Washed his hands and walked away.
And he wasn't afraid to be killed because he was not afraid of his own skin, obviously. Aaron was not. He chose to take the blame. But more than that, he chose not to ever fight with the people. It was a question, God or the people? Understand what is happening here? He chose the people.
Like their brother did.
Who else chose?
Moses did.
Moses later came in with it's written more clear about Moses. Moses came down with the 2 tablets. If he delivers the tablet, the Jewish people deserve that because it's written in the tablet, do not worship idols. Moses had a split-second dilemma. You know, when you're in the army and you war, you don't have time to think. It's a machine. God, the tablets, or the people? You smash the tablets. There is a book, it's called Tonot Velior. The book of what Elijah the prophet used to come to a rabbi and reveal to him secrets from the Torah. And he wrote it down. That in this book it's written, Elijah said there is a dilemma, what came first? The Torah or the Jews? So to speak, who is more important? And Elijah says, and I say that the Jewish people come first. Because in the Torah it's written, speak to the children of Israel, tell the children of Israel, order the children. If the children of Israel are not around, who's going to observe the Torah? Basically, the Jews come first. Aaron chose the Jews come first, and Moses did the same thing. Even that Moses was angry with Aaron. Why you did the golden calf? What's going on here? And Aaron, in Moses in Deuteronomy says that God wanted to destroy Aaron because of the golden calf. This is the place in the Bible that we find that Aaron was a man of peace. I don't find another place. You have another place? Then there is one more place that he stopped the plague. Remember the story?
Sure.
Yeah.
In the pig house.
No, not in Pinchas. Pinchas stopped the plague of Pinchas.
What did he broke, he went out and bought the incense and stuff.
About the incense, when was the story? Not in Pinchas.
After Korah.
Korach. In Parshas Korach, the Jewish people, for the fifth time in the same day, looks like they complained, and it started a plague. That Moses told Aaron, take the incense, run among the people, and stop the plague. Aaron stopped the plague. And the Medrash puts it in an unbelievable way. He says, he stopped the angel of death. The angel of death told him, I'm doing the mission of God. He told him, I'm doing the mission of Moses, Aaron tells him. But then the angel of death asked him, who is bigger? Who is greater, God or Moses? What's going on here? But Aaron tells him, listen, God and Moses are in at the front of the tent of the mountain, right by the door. Let's go and we'll have a discussion. That was the end of the plague.
Yeah, but it is a result of, his indulgence of the people with the golden calf. So many thousands of people were killed.
Yeah, but
suffered and died.
How many people?
3,000.
3,000.
Yeah, but God still, the
3,000
Levites had to
No, what would be if Aaron wouldn't do it? The whole nation would worship idols. Not 3,000. Everybody.
Right, but the point is he could have stopped.
He couldn't. The Medrash tells us, Hur, you ever heard about Mr. Hur? Mr. Hur was Miriam's son. It's two times in the Bible where there's a guy with the name Hur. He's not famous. You ever heard about Mr. Hur? Mr. Hur is in the beginning.
He holds up Moses' hands.
The first time we read about him, right? The second time we read about him when Moses went up on temple on the Mount Sinai for 40 days, he turns to the people, he says, anybody has a question, should ask Aaron and Hur. The last time we heard about Hur, what happened to Hur? The Talmud says, he was the first one, they came to him, so let's make an idol. Hur said, you're crazy? Moses is coming back, they killed him. Aaron saw that if he will be harsh with them, he'll get nowhere. That Aaron tried to buy time. Aaron says, bring the gold from your wives, with the women. Women don't separate from gold so fast. He said, it'll take time. It's called separation anxiety. Jews in general have separation anxiety when it comes to money.
There was a mob.
Then what happened? The women didn't give the gold. The men gave the wrong jewelry. They brought it to Aaron. He had no choice. He created. He says until the morning. He said tomorrow we'll do it. Chag LaHashem machar. Tomorrow we'll make the party. Guess what? They didn't go to sleep. In another occasion, they slept late. When was it? 40 days before the giving of the Torah, Moses had to wake them up, right? God had to wake them up. A big sound of the shofar. Everybody was tired. It's like your children. During the week when you need them to go to school, you cannot wake them up. Saturday morning, Shabbos, they are up 5 o'clock in the morning, dancing on your head. The only day of the year. Once I remember many years ago, somebody asked me, Rabbi, what do you do Shabbos you cannot set up your alarm clock? I looked at him, I said, I have 6 alarm clocks, At that time I had 6 kids. The guy was completely off the wall. I needed an alarm clock Saturday morning. I was up before dawn. This guy. By the time I came to shul, it was like a half a day gone already. Then Aaron was a man of peace. And because he was a man, even if it was golden calf, you're right. That's why, last week you learned the story of Pinchas. Pinchas stopped the plague, right? Beautiful. And the plague of Pinchas was bigger than the plague from Mount Sinai. There only 3,000 people died. Pinchas, they also worshipped idols. What is the story of Pinchas? The daughters of Moab came out, seduced the boys, and they made them worship idols. That they worshipped idols at the beginning of the 4 years, they worshipped idols at the end of the 4 years. How Pinchas stopped the plague? Not like Aaron, with incense, with love. Pinchas came and killed 2 people, the plague stopped. The Jewish people never forgave Pinchas. Even more, God came and said, I give him the peace, the covenant of peace, and God says, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron. And Rashi says, why we need to say the son of Elazar? Because the Jewish people told them, you're a grandson of Aaron. We know your grandfather. He never did such things.
How come he got the priesthood then?
Oh, that God had to prove, God had to testify that he did it for the right reason. Now, there is something very interesting here. Aaron worshipped idols, right? When he became high priest, before he worshipped idols? Before he did the idols, not worship idols. Before he created the golden calf or after? After.
Yeah, right.
Usually, a Kohen, the law is that a Kohen who is worshipping, is serving in idol worshipping house, let's say he needs a job, cost idol, he cannot serve in the temple later. Aaron, after creating the golden calf, became high priest. Obviously, was for the sake of God. With Pinchas, we see a similar thing. Pinchas, when God made Aaron the high priest, he says Aaron and his sons will be priests, Cohens, and anybody will be born later. Pinchas was born earlier. Pinchas was the only grandson that was born before God said that Aaron and his sons will be priests. Pinchas fell between the cracks. He wasn't a Kohen in the beginning. It was Aaron and his 4 sons, and anybody will be born. Now, because he killed Zimri and Cosby, God gave him the priesthood, the gift of priesthood. He made him a priest. Again, the interesting is here, Jewish law says that a Kohen who killed a person cannot go up and cannot serve in the temple, even if he killed him for self-defense. His hands are with blood. We don't blame him. We don't hurt him. He did a big mitzvah, but he cannot come up and serve in a blessed congregation because from his hand came blood. We said anything about the temple. For example, the altar, right? The altar cannot be touched by metal. Why? Because metal is made to kill, and the altar is made to prolong life. Cannot be together. More than that, the soldiers in Israel, the Israeli soldiers, it's a big discussion, a lot of writing about it. Can they come later in the shul and bless the congregation? A Kohen who is a soldier? Then they say, when people show, they don't say. But if he had a bigger personal fight in Gaza, and it ended up by the other guy being gathered to his people, then he will have a problem. There's a lot of discussion. Some rabbis say it's okay, he can still go. We don't blame him, don't get me wrong. A Kohen who goes to a cemetery will have to be sprinkled before he can enter the temple. He has to go to the cemetery, let's say for his mother or for his father. But it's not a contradiction to the temple, he cannot go. A high priest on the way to the Holy of Holies, if he sees a mess mitzvah, a dead body that nobody is there to take care of him, he has an obligation to take care of him. Then he cannot enter the Holy of Holies. Not because you cannot do another thing, it means you did a mitzvah, but you cannot do the other thing. Pinchas, after killing Zimri, got a gift of priesthood. Obviously, it was a good thing. You understand what I'm saying? Aaron got the gift of priesthood after he was involved in the golden calf. Pinchas got the gift of priesthood after he killed Zimri.
It's all based on intent, apparently.
But only God knows intents, nobody else. What I mean to say is, then Pinchas, but the Jewish people said, we remember your grandfather, he was a nice guy. Where is this coming to you? You know what they told them? Pinchas said another grandfather, Jethro. They told them that's coming from Jethro's side, from Midian. It's not coming from Aaron. We knew Aaron better. He's not doing such things. Therefore God had to come. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron. No, it's coming from the Aaron side. But, it's like whenever the child doesn't behave, the wife tells the husband, that comes from your side of the family. Not from my side, no, they were all my brothers, were nice kids, and it's coming from your side of the family. That's Pinchas. But Pinchas himself, God testified for him it was not good for the Jewish people. There is a story in the book of Joshua. Actually, it's connected to this Parshat too. In this Parshat there is a story about Reuven and Gad, 2 tribes, came to Moses and told Moses, we don't want to cross the Jordan. We rather stay on the other side of the Jordan because it's better for business, right? Yes, you understand business, everybody understands business.
Well,
Moses was disappointed,
but they did agree.
Yeah, they went, Moses was disappointed in them, then they said we're going to fight for the Jewish people, all good and fine. Then Moses told them, you will Moses said, we'll give them the land to the tribe of Gad and Reuben and a half of the tribe of Manasseh. They never asked for to be on the other side of the Jordan. Why Moses told them to stand on the other side of the Jordan, the half of the tribe? What's the point?
So that they were united on both sides.
Why Manasseh? Why not?
Because Manasseh was.
Many scholars came from Manasseh tribe.
Represents Yosef.
Maybe, but that's not the reason. What?
Well, because they would try to help, they would keep the Jewish people, they were very inspired, they were fiery kind of people that they would kind of keep.
Why Manasseh?
Manasseh
From Yosef.
Yosef.
So, how we know that Manasseh were the people the right people to put on the other side of the Jordan?
Many scholars came out from Manasseh.
No, that's not the reason. Maybe, but that's not the
They
reason.
kept the Yiddishkeit
Now you know that. Here's this written.
because,
Were you there?
yeah, all the time.
We know from Yosef that when he was in Egypt, that he maintained everything.
Why Manasseh? No,
That's a good question.
I know.
Holiness.
We bless our sons on Friday night because
And
Ephraim
then we should give a few for Ephraim. Why not Manasseh?
Because Ephraim and Manasseh were the two siblings who maintained their Jewishness. And
Even in
their
Egypt,
environment
yes.
was not Jewish.
Good, but why Manasseh particular, not Ephraim? Why Manasseh? You know it. I mean, you can come up with it. Let's put it this way. Anything you remember Manasseh from the last few parshas? Manasseh. Yeah.
Sisters.
Yeah.
All the
Slofchad's Slofchad's daughters came and asked for Moses, we want a peace in the land of Israel. The men said, let's go back to Egypt. Slofchad's daughters are looking for the future. We want a peace. What Israel? Nobody's even in Israel. What are you screaming? What are you making a fight? Make the whole thing. That the tribe of Manasseh were known for loving the land. That Moses says, I need a half of the tribe of Manasseh, the Sochnut Shlichim, to be in the other side of the Jordan, to keep the fire going. Now listen. They entered the land of Israel. Everybody was settled. The tribe of Manasseh was there. One day, the Jewish people heard that the people in the other side of the Jordan, in the book of Joshua, chapter 10, if you should know better than me, I don't know where it is, then they build a monument, like an altar, I think. They build an altar. So the Jewish people said, the chutzpah, they're building an altar on their own. They forget about Israel. They want to create their own business, our own temple. Let's go to war with them. They were so angry with them, they want to go to war. But they said, we first will send Elazar, the high priest, to find out what's going on there. Elazar went with the whole delegation to check out, and they asked him, why you build your own altar? They said, God forbid, we don't want to forget of Israel. This is a way to remember Israel, to always long for Israel. That Elazar saved the Jews from a war. Only then, when Elazar brought peace between the Jewish people, only when he really walked in the footsteps of his grandfather Aaron, only then the Jewish people forgive him for what he did when he was 17 years old or 15 or 13 years old.
Who?
Elazar. He killed him, you forgot.
It's Pinchas the same as...
I'm sorry, Pinchas. I'm sorry. I said Elazar. I'm sorry. Pinchas was sent to check out. It's not Elazar. Erase it. It's Pinchas. Pinchas went to the other side of the Jordan to see what's going on, and he saved the Jews from a war between the two, from a civil war between the Jews on this side of the Jordan and the Jews on the other side of the Jordan. Only then the Jews forgive Pinchas for killing. Only then, when he proved that he's a man of peace, they were able to say that the reason why he killed Zimri was from the right side. Why? Because I want to tell you something. When you give somebody a hug, even if it's for the wrong reasons, nicht gefährlich. But if you hurt somebody, you better be sure 100% that you did it only for the sake of God, not because you want to hurt them, not because you want to insult them. You were so upset that God's name was desecrated. That's the only reason why you did it. And on a regular day, you love the guy, you lend him money, you help him to move his house, you'll do for him everything. You know, people sometimes they walk to shul. You know, the guys never show the shushas. Shh, shh, shh. If it would be a law that you're not allowed to shush in shul, half of the shul wouldn't show up. All the shushas wouldn't come. Why? Because some people, officially it's in the name of God, but they enjoy it a little bit. A little bit, just a little bit. By us, thank God it's nothing. You know, there is in every synagogue, the person who reads from the Torah, there is like 5 guys who are very enthusiastic to correct them. Here it's nothing. In a regular Orthodox shul, that's the sport of the day. You know, like other people go play golf, they cannot play golf on Shabbos, right? They come to shul to waiting for the chazan. Okay, chashuv, no! Everybody's screaming from all sides. Remember, I took my son Mendy, and he was bar mitzvah. I made for him a little bar mitzvah in Israel because my father was sick, he couldn't come to America. He was reading the Torah. You know, I was already so long here. And then he said one word was not perfect. You had to hear the whole. So what is this? What kind of a mob is this? If you tell them they're not allowed to correct them, they're going to another show. It's all about Oev Shalom, Verodef Shalom. Love peace and pursue peace. Oevet are loving people, regular creatures, and bring them closer to the Torah.
Thank you.